Hi boys and girls, this is lesson 7.5, multiplying mixed numbers by whole numbers. After you get that written down in your notebook as well as today's date, come on back. Alright, so the math message for today. Last week, Scotty practiced the trumpet for 2/3 of an hour each day. What was the total number of hours he practiced? Alright, so figure out how you need to set that problem up, then go ahead and try and solve it, and when you have that done in your notebook, come on back. Alright, here's some things you could have done. You could have said, well, I could do 7 for the days in the week times 2/3, which equals 14/3, because we know that we always multiply the whole number by the numerator. That gives me 14, and I keep the denominator thirds. And if I convert that by doing a quick division problem, 14 divided by 3, I'm going to say 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract that gives me 2, which gives me my 4 and 2/3. Okay? Or I could have done repeated addition, 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3, and so on, until I still ended up with 14/3 and the answer of 4 and 2/3. Same thing, here I would have done this in order to figure out what is that as a mixed number, no longer an improper fraction, but a mixed number. Or I could have used some relational thinking. I know that 3 2/3 are the same as 2 whole, so 6 2/3 would be 4, plus I have the leftover 2/3, which gives me 4 and 2/3. Any of these methods, or another one that you might have come up with that's going to get me to this answer, is great. So now that I know this answer, what two whole numbers does this answer lie between? And then a tougher question, how many minutes would 4 hours, 4 and 2/3 hours, I should say, be? And how many seconds would that be? Ooh, gonna have to really turn on your thinking caps. Give those problems a try. When you think you have them, come on back. Alright, hopefully you could tell me that 4 and 2/3 lies between 4, because it's at least that, but it's not quite 5. So it lies between 4 and 5. I wonder if you could have told me that 4 and 2/3 hours would be 280 minutes. What did you do to solve that? I hope you said, well, I know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, so 4 times 60 is 240, and then I could do 60 times 2/3, 120 thirds, divide that out, and you would have ended up getting yourself the rest of those minutes. Okay? And then seconds, I'm going to multiply my 280 times what? Hopefully you figured out. Well, in every one of those minutes, there's 60 seconds. So I'm doing a multiplication problem, 280 times 60. All right, if you don't have those, don't worry. We will talk about those in class if they are stumping you. I am going to go ahead and go on for today. All right, so notice that in our last lesson, we multiplied fractions less than 1 and improper fractions greater than 1 by whole numbers. But in this lesson, we're going to explore strategies for multiplying a mixed number by a whole number. That's what we're going to do. So, back to Scotty and his trumpet. If he kept that same practice schedule, 2/3 of an hour each day, after 5 weeks, will he have practiced more or less than 1 full day? Lots of things to think about in that question. Go ahead and give that all a try, pausing the video, and then when you think you have it all worked out in your notebook, come on back. Alright, so I'm saying you could have used many different strategies to figure this out. You could have drawn a picture. You could have used repeated addition. So repeated addition, I could do it this way. It's going to get me to 23 and a third hours. I could have changed the mixed number to a fraction and then done it the way that I already know how. So 5 times 4 and 2/3 would be 5 times 14/3, because 3 times 4, 12 plus the 2, right? 14 thirds, which looks like this, which looks like this, which still gets me to that 23 1/3. Or I could use this partial products strategy to multiply the whole number by each part of the mixed number. So we're really going to dive into this today. These I think you should be pretty comfortable with, even though this was a harder problem. Hopefully you were able to say, well, it's less than that one full day, because there's 24 hours in a full day, so it's less than a full day at 23 1/3. But I want to make sure that you get this method down here. So let's talk it through, and then I'll have you do some practice problems with this. So if the problem is 5 times 4 2/3, well, I can say, well, that's the same as saying 5 times, breaking them apart, 4 plus 2/3. So then I could say, well, I'm going to move that around and say, well, now I'm doing 5 times the 4 plus 5 times the 2/3. Oh, well, I know how to do that. 5 times 4 is 20, and 5 times 2/3 is 10 thirds. So now it's 20 plus 3 1/3, 23 1/3. Lots of steps, but I think they all should make sense to you. So look that over as many times as you need to follow that along. And I'm going to do one more like that on the next little bit here, and then give you a couple to practice with. So when you think you're ready, move along. All right, so here's one. 3 times 1 1/4. So to solve that using the partial product strategy, I could say, well, I can do 3 times 1 plus 1/4, which is the same as saying I'm going to do 3 times 1 and 3 times the 1/4. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 1/4 is 3/4. Add them together, 3 3/4. Okay, you're going to try these two. Take some time, do it step by step, follow the method that is up above, I should say, and when you think you have it, come on back. All right. So, hopefully you could tell me, well, I could do 4 times 2 plus 3/8, which is the same as saying I'm going to do 4 times 2 plus 4 times 3/8. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3/8 is 12/8. So 8 plus 1 4/8, that's what the 12/8 are, right? 1 4/8 equals 9 4/8, or 9 1/2. For this one, 6 times 3 plus 4/5 equals 6 times 3. This is the distributive property again that we talked about in class yesterday. 6 times 4/5, or I should say today, I think, equals 18 plus 24/5, which is 18 and 4 4/5. Answer being 22 4/5. All right? So I'm multiplying the whole number by each part of the mixed number. That's this strategy. I hope that's good by you. If you need to rewatch any part of this video, do so. If not, you're going to go on to look at these two sheets in your math journal. They're solving number stories, so see what you can come up with there. After you've given them your best effort, come back and check the answers, circling anything you get wrong so that I can see it when I glance down in your books and know what problems you need some more help on. All right, here you go with the answer, so pause this if you're not ready for answers yet. And here are the answers. Notice they, of course, are telling you sample answers. You didn't have to do it exactly like that, though this is the method that we've been talking about. So hopefully you followed that one and gave it your best effort. All right. Okay, have a great night.